The PODFIX Network, baby.
Hey everybody, this is former WWF Light Heavyweight Champion Gilbert, brother, and you're listening to the Greetings Guild Podcast.
How much does this come
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was just marking where we're starting.
All right. Did you need me to clap as well?
No. Since we're in the same room, it's okay.
Okay.
No, we can have our own individual claps.
Okay.
Oh, look, it's fucking Henry VIII.
No, that's Harry the Ninth.
Harry the Ninth?
Yes. He does not want to be related
Shit.
to fat, adulterous piece of shit
So
that murders his wives. That's why he doesn't want to be associated with Henry VIII.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right,
So
that makes sense. Then.
Harry the Ninth.
That makes sense. All right, welcome everyone to. I don't even have the rundown open.
Oh shit!
Let's.
I didn't realize we were jumping right into this.
Let's start. Well, I hadn't planned on it. This is a hell of a cold open though.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna.
That's why I got this blanket on.
Yeah,
Because it's not a cold open; it's a frozen as fuck open.
It is chilly.
Yeah.
It is chilly.
Chilly.
All right, Cretans Guild podcast. Rundown. This is what happens. Oh God, he deleted the rundown.
Did he?
There. Okay.
No,
he titled it Cretans Guild podcast.
No, the
rundown.
The rundown is law to Monarch Bob.
Episode 89. Episode Mike Ditka. I got to be honest. I don't understand what that means, Bob.
There's a photo I think he showed us.
Is it? Oh, well, it does have a link.
Yeah. All right.
We're professionals.
Please don't be Mike Dicka's.
Oh, well, it's Mike.
His jersey's 89.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. All right.
It's funny when I made it the Sidney Crosby episode because
Yeah.
no one. We're reaching now.
Hey, well, that's a sports reference, and you didn't get that like immediately.
It's football.
All right. I mean, I still don't get it. And I saw it explained to me.
I don't like football. So I don't know what's going on there.
I got you.
So yeah, welcome to episode 89 of the Cretans Guild podcast. I am Jay. With me, literally, is Corey.
Yep. Hey.
We're in the same room.
Yep. Pigs are not flying.
Nope.
The moon has not turned blood red. It just so happened that I got in my car and drove over.
Yeah, he made the long trek from Chicago, Illinois to Kalamazoo, Michigan. All 2 hours of it.
Yeah.
And came on over and is spending some time here with me and the fam.
Yeah.
So tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be playing a game.
I didn't come over here without a mission statement. It was going to be we're going to do some tabletop or bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be playing Splendor tonight, which is a game I've now played once and was a lot of fun. But before we get into that, we are part of the PODFIX Network. It's podfixnetwork.com. And you can follow fellow PodFixer Varmints podcast. It's an education and comedy podcast that's all about animals. Paul and Donna do a whole bunch of research to bring you a mix of science, education, pop culture, and comedy about all the things that creep, crawl, slither, fly, jump, hop, and swim on the planet.
We should pronounce it appropriately, though. It's Varmints!
Yeah, it is. That's true.
And not, not Varmints.
Yeah, so they do all that, and it's kind of nice. These guys are super kid-friendly, so if you have little ones in your life, you can let them listen to it, unlike what you should do with our podcast.
Right.
But it's a good show, and adults will love it as well.
Why are they promoting it on...
I don't know, but my favorite part of this rundown is after, in parentheses, it says, Bob note, very kid-friendly, yet adults will love them too, PodFix like a motherfucker. So...
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So yeah.
So we won't be pimping our shit on their show.
I hope not.
I wouldn't let us do it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Look at the guests and topics. It's completely blank.
That's because I hadn't molested it this week.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. We can provide color commentary for this wonderful game that we've got going on here.
So let's start off.
Okay.
So you came over yesterday. And we didn't do anything yesterday.
Right, yeah.
Because it was late.
We sat around and shot heroin and watched a lot of porn.
With
the kid and the wife, of course.
That's kind of the thing we do.
That's about as family friendly as this podcast gets.
And it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to spend some time with you. And I should say that this is probably just going to be Corey and I talking, and less describing the situation that's going on with this game because.
Currently, we are dealing out the cards on a table in a grid of 3 by 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody who's played Splendor knows. We should at least try to describe this shit.
Okay,
We're trying to recapture the magic of the zombie dice episode that we did a couple of years ago, which was pretty solid stuff.
So the idea behind Splendor is you're trying to be the first to 15 points to win. You do that by collecting gems, which you use to purchase cards. Cards also have a gem value on them, which are permanent to you, and go basically.
So it's like a stacking economy sort of a game.
Yeah, it's a perfect way to put it.
Right.
And you know, while we could just do a play-by-play of what we're doing, it's going to be pretty boring to hear. I spend 2 ruby to pick up 1 sapphire, because you're going to go, what the fuck is this shit? It's not compelling.
The symbology used to ascribe roles to each of the components of the games is pretty like Renaissance themed, or at least Renaissance associated.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of trying to figure out who we as players, what our role is supposed to be in this, and early access to like just single gems. And us using these resources to gather more power and influence. These are technically called development cards. Makes me wonder if we're actually conducting illegal activities in Renaissance era Italy in order to impress these nobles who you'd assume would be have a public face to curate.
And what a hideous public face they all have. Like, if you look at our 3 nobles right now, we have upset woman, man who sat on tack, and Harvey the Ninth. It's
Harvey the Ninth, because he doesn't want to be associated with his more infamous brother.
Yeah, exactly.
It could just be RBF. That's not really fair. She could be pleasant. No, she's from the Renaissance era. Yeah. Of course, they're all assholes.
Yeah, a resting bubonic face for those scoring at home.
Right.
And so we're going to be playing this. We're going to be probably talking about what we've done today, mainly, because Corey and I went off on an adventure today.
Yeah.
And
not everything that we've done.
You guys...
Because we don't want the authorities to be getting wind of any of it.
That's true. Yes. That's very true. So for you, those of you that are familiar with our podcast, congratulations. It's going to be more nonsense. For those of you not familiar with our podcast, congratulations. You're going to get some nonsense. So...
Spiff.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And, all right, well, let's go. You go first.
Me first?
Yeah, you go first. That'll work.
All right. You know how shit I am with early strategies, so we're just going to go gung-ho right away.
Okay.
I'm pulling like 2 emeralds and hoping that comes together as something.
Fair enough.
You know how there seems to be like a Japanese word or term for pretty much like the most obscure of concepts?
Sure.
All right. This one was hitting me on the way home yesterday from the grocery store because an absolutely absurd situation had occurred to me. And what we want to do.
All you want to do is zoom, and a boom, boom. Just shake your rump.
I have no rump to shake. Actually, I'm not cutting myself any slack on that. I do. It's pretty handsome. Very few positive attributes to describe myself physically, and the butt's one of them. That's a net. That was a net early benefit of being a skater. So, right. This is going to sound a whole lot like a Louis C.K. joke upon reflection. It is not. The concept is similar to it, but it's a very narrow one, and I think a whole lot of people can relate to it. So I was saying, okay, there should be a Japanese word for this situation that I'm about to describe. I was walking home from the grocery store. Saw a guy heading towards me with a stroller, and I assumed like sight unseen. Well, I assumed that sight seen that it was,
it's a baby.
Here's a dad. He's got a baby in a stroller. They're gonna go get some milk or do something.
Sure.
Perhaps score some coke because I know what part of town that is. Yeah. And the closer I got to the crib, I realized that in the crib there's no baby. There is like a lot of swaddling underneath a blanket that was perhaps positioned to maybe resemble a baby still being in the stroller. And the dad looked normal, so I didn't think it was any shenanigans that he was up to. It was just, but that's not the point of the story. What I thought immediately in that like split second that your brain comes up with the most complicated and overwrought explanation possible for that scenario before it goes back to sanity and is like, oh, well, he probably just dropped the kid off at a babysitter and is strolling back to the house. I thought, legit, I swear I'm not doing a bit. This is where it came from. I thought, all right, the dad is single. He took the kid out to go, impress some people. But the kid, as the wingman, got picked up himself and then took some of its swaddling and made, a swift escape. And the dad didn't know it yet. And then I was like, congratulations. You just spontaneously wrote a comic strip based on this random occurrence that just happened to you that was complete and utter nonsense. And what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with this, this concept now? I don't know. I'll just probably use it to describe something and fill some air on a podcast or some shit. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah. But the thing that eventually took me to is that there is no Japanese or any other sort of an esoteric term no esoteric label ascribed to the situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because we have, everyone loves Schadenfreude.
Right.
But the Germans don't have anything for anything like that.
Right.
No terms of happhappiness.
Yeah.
It's
well, they have Schadenfreude.
Well, but that's happiness in someone else's misfortune.
That's right. Well, German for happiness would be just gut, I suppose, or Bier.
Beer, yeah.
But that would be a transmission
Schnitzel.
of happiness. So would Schnitzel.
Yeah, true.
And so would lollies, and perhaps. I was just going to say the word hand jobs, but in a lilting German accent.
Hand jobs.
Yeah. Well, there's your random chatter for the open.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. See, I would have been disappointed that there wasn't a dog in the stroller.
Yeah. Oh, see that okay. That was kind of like the follow up. When my consciousness eventually caught up with my idiotic subconscious, they were like, it would have been cooler if there was a pair of pointy ears just popping out above the blanket line. Yeah. Because
he's out walking his kobold or something. Just...
take candle.
Yeah.
Oh, he's cute. Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna take your candle.
It's the last time It's the last time I take you out to the bars, bro. You suck at this. Do you know what we're supposed to... Oh, God, stupid kobolds.
All right, so you've been back in Chicago for 2 months now?
Since January the 1st, yes.
All right. And happy?
I have no other positive emotions to compare it to, simply because I felt like I made my own escape out of a stroller from, a single desperate dad.
Fair enough.
And I was just riddled with swaddling in which to, make my effective getaway.
All right, for those scoring at home, that was not set up. I had no idea we were going to be...
No, sometimes I'm just that goddamn good. And you could count all those times on a single hand. Yeah, I couldn't be fucking happier. I mean, I came over here, well, because, the planets had aligned for one, too. Yeah, it was opportune. But for two, for the most part, I've just been keeping myself busy with exploring my surroundings. I've actually been, I've not been drawing, but getting myself back into the habit of drawing, which most people in my private social circle are
that makes me happy.
You're not drinking
that
again,
really
also,
happy.
are you? Yeah. I mean, I am drinking again, but I never really stopped.
Sure.
Yeah. And I live in a town that, more or less encourages that activity during the day.
Yeah, it's I don't drink anymore. I also don't drink any less.
Exactly, yeah. But I don't lean on it as a crutch for any inspiration or, mobilizing imagination and shit.
Sure.
It's just been so good. And... honestly, the entire last year has been leading up to this, too. During the pandemic, when everybody else has been suffering and fucking miserable and, worrying about their future, et cetera, et cetera. And I keep waiting for, the other shoe to drop for me, because it began with my last job, which I had no love for, telling me to start working from home. And that was good. And it started with a 2-week vacation, which then became a 2-month vacation. And then they brought us back in for 2 weeks, and a bunch of people got sick, and then they put the kibosh on that. And from then, things just kept getting better.
Yeah, that's never the result you want when you run a business, is to have people be like, this is great, I never have to go back.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, it doesn't need to be belabored that there's an unprecedented misfortune befalling the entire globe for the entirety of last year.
Look, I already so Corey and I did a thing for my show on YouTube called Microtransgressions. Right at the start of the pandemic. And we made some serious missteps during that show, making light of the situation.
To our credit, we're not virologists.
Yes, to be fair. To be fair.
And not to steal somebody else's bit.
No, I'm not about that. I'll happily steal someone else's bit.
Yeah.
We kind of we fucked that pig. I'll steal that bit too. We completely dropped the ball on that, where it was like, oh yeah, no, this is no big deal, everything will be fine.
We porked the pork. We weren't that flip about it. We were just being jokey.
Yeah, we were being jokey, because we talked about Dr. Mario.
Yes.
We're like, oh, that's that virus. Oh,
we'll just drop some counterphobically colored pills on top of it while the virus dances all over our graves. Yeah, as it turned out.
So we did make light of the situation. We weren't like dismissive by any stretch, but yeah, we definitely
Well, it's our typical response of gallows humor, which even in the worst of times we do. You should have seen us around 9/11. You would be glad that we didn't know what podcasts were at that point.
We'd probably be in jail. But yeah, it was just it's how we deal with shit. Is we have to bring funny, or we'll cry,
and we have to try to make other people as nauseous as possible.
Yes,
or we will still cry.
So the reasons Microtransgressions has been on hold for so long, one, it's a major time investment, and two, I needed to give it time to breathe.
Yeah,
because, oops.
Well, it was ill-timed. It was sort of an attempt at launching a new thing.
Yeah, it was, and it was something where I had just started to honestly really take the YouTube channel seriously. Because I went from having like 5 subscribers to all of a sudden having 100, which was
accelerated.
Yeah, it was a bit shocking. I didn't anticipate that happening. So we was like, oh, we'll put in a podcast. We'll start doing a podcast for the channel. And like, I edited. I was like, wow, that took me like 3 hours to edit. I could have been doing a video.
Yeah.
And no one watches YouTube to listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to our podcast on YouTube, by the way. Because I realize I say that now, and we're making a podcast for YouTube.
Yeah. Well, in this particular case, it was us having only like a vague idea of us doing it. Because whenever did you ever see that? Did you ever see the tweet that was kind of like knocking on the culture of podcasts? That's like, why don't white guys go to therapy instead of starting podcasts or something like that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, A, because it's free, more or less. But B, since when is socializing therapy?
Well, yeah, that's
kind of a twisted way of looking at things too.
Yeah, the podcasts for us, between both Cretan's Guild, and I know for Skipper Bob, Skipper Bob. I know for Bob with Skipper Bob's breakdowns, and for me with Square Pegs, and then with Microtransgressions.
Yeah. Sorry, did you just go?
Yeah, I did. It's your turn.
Go ahead.
It was a way for us to spend more time together.
Anyway, here's some people that need a little bit of like game component porn at the moment. Listen to this. Oh, god damn it, that's so good.
We're playing Splendor.
Yeah.
And this is an ASMR.
Yeah.
And if I were a pirate, it would be ASMR.
Shut the fuck up.
So yeah, I mean, it was a way for us to spend more time together when we're apart.
Press these cold chips against my nipples.
And that'll happen.
Oh, this is your copy. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I don't care.
No, that's overstepping boundaries.
And it's, I know some people are probably going to look at this or listen to this and be like, oh, well, you guys are not being safe. You're spending time together. Yeah.
I've only licked like 5 doorknobs on the way over here. Before getting in the car.
We've
in a densely populated urban area.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's all right.
We're not being dumb. We've masked up everywhere we've gone. The whole shebang. And it's, sometimes you just need human interaction.
Yeah.
More than just, hey, your face on screen. And I work from home. I know this.
Is it putting the cart before... No, it's not putting the cart before the horse there. It's like, we're not being dumb in a way that would endanger anybody. We're just being the standard level of dumb that...
We're being our level of dumb.
Right, that we're comfortable with and hasn't killed us yet outright.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it's going to try, and it might get close. Who knows? But...
what death wish.
Yeah. This is what we talk about when we play board games, guys.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about today. We set out on an adventure today, questing for old video games.
Just to remind myself of what it got.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you made the big score today, for the most part.
Yeah, I did pretty well. I did pretty well. Now, first couple of stops were a bust. First one
wasn't even a stop, really.
First one wasn't even a stop. We went into a place, and there was some neat stuff. There's that Sega Genesis inbox version of Dick Tracy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I'd like to have that, but I don't need it. But the main thing, we went in, and the store's fine. It's an antique store, but it's an antique store in rural Michigan, and it's an antique store with a person who clearly has no time for masking.
I get from the tone that you've referred to rural Michigan as is that it's kind of an untold thing for rural areas. But I'll tell you this. In the 5-block area, centrifugal to where I currently live, there are about two used game stores. And, I mean, there's a lot in the city. But only accessible to me is two within walking distance. And today we covered a mean of about 6. It was a lot.
Okay, so we did Nana. Well, we did the not gonna name names.
Yeah.
We did the place in rural Michigan, and then we went down to Triple Creek. And we went to the bookstore. We went to the used game store.
Up on Triple Creek.
We did 2 Goodwills, we did Fanfare, and we did Second Chance. So yeah, it was god damn, it was like 7 or 8 stores we went to today looking for games. And Treasure Quest,
right?
Which is just a nice little gem of a place.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went to a bunch of used game stores, and it's not like, if you guys don't know the layout of Michigan obviously is shaped like a hand. And where I'm at is in the lower west, the southwest side of Michigan.
It's the hand that welcomes Indiana.
And everything in that area is at least 50 miles from anything else. So Kalamazoo, where I'm at, is 50 miles away from Grand Rapids and is 20 miles away from Three Rivers. And Three Rivers is a very small town. It's a cool town, but it's a very small town. And that's where we ended up going today.
And unexpectedly too, if you're like an architecture whore, you would find few better.
Yeah, it's an awesome town.
Oftentimes like small towns are like diamonds in the rough as far as like vintage building design goes. This place is like one of the most robust I've seen, and I've seen quite a few of them. I lived in Georgia.
There's a full theater marquee for a theater that still functions. Just not during COVID.
Yeah.
That has just an awesome like now playing sign out front, and like sticks out. It's a classic triangle. You can see it from both ends of the street. And there's
killer neon work too.
Yep,
which I hope to see at night at some point.
Yeah, lots of awesome neon work. There's like apartments above every store. It's an awesome street. Main Street in Three Rivers is just stunning.
Didn't know that. Kind of wish you didn't tell me that.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
And on this street is 2 of my favorite stores in the area, and one of them is Lowry's Used Books. So when I say used bookstores, I think it kind of paints one picture for people, and it's just like, oh, it's a bookstore that has used books. And yes, that is true. Yeah. That is in its name.
A good chunk of people hearing this are also going to think of like half-price books at first, which is a used bookstore technically.
Yeah.
But it's more or less of a very specifically curtailed experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Lowry's is not that. Lowry's is a lot. So Lowry's is 5 storefronts, and floor to ceiling basically are just stacks on stacks on stacks of books of every variety you can imagine.
The first time I ever went in there, the image that I got was that it was like one of the cleanest and most well organized freaking garage sales I'd ever seen.
It is the most organized, cluttered chaos ever.
Yeah,
it's absolutely a train wreck what's going on in there, and it all works.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
but they fucking have everything.
They do.
And do you remember like when you first took me there? The one section that I spent the most time in, which was not trades, although I did spend quite a lot of time in the trades. No, that was where I scored those 2 mint copies of first press editions of The Trouble with Girls, the Gerard Jones comic from like the early 80s before he started working for DC. And that's a great comic too. I'd been a fan of it for like a long time, but I had only had access to like single issues because it was a small print.
Sure.
And small print in the 80s was really goddamn hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
It was before the Ashcan Revolution and stuff. But no, the part of the store that I spent the most time in, or remember spending the most time in that first time, was the sci-fi paperbacks. And looking like at all those, I showed a couple of them to you today, looking at all those like just insanely aggressive paperback covers.
Yep.
They were absolutely just, most like a lot of people have this idea of like a cartoon 80s cyberpunk sort of visage, and it was so much of that, and it was genuine. And seeing those hand-rendered artworks like put to context was an absolute, treat for a graphic designer, a graphic design addict. And it's got tons of those. It's got tons of stuff like that, just relics.
Well, we also, the first time you went, we spent a lot of time in the hard case crime section. Because they had just gotten a collection in from somebody and just put it on the shelf.
Oh, God, yeah. Feels like we're going to be spending forever chasing those fucking things.
So we did that. But this time, the main goal for going to Lowry's this time was for you to find Lego sets. Because they are a huge independent seller. Yeah. And they have a lot of Lego.
Actually, well, you knew they had Legos.
Yeah, I knew they had Legos. I
didn't expect that.
Yeah, I don't think you knew about it last. I don't think you were big on Legos last time you were here. Like you were just kind of starting out your Lego journey.
Yeah, I was only going to buy the Monster Hunter set and then stop cold turkey after that.
Yeah.
God damn it.
8 years later.
8 years later, and I don't know how many dollars afterwards.
And your entire. Like the one thing you were looking for, you were looking for
$30 for cubic foot of space that I've lost in my living spaces. Yeah.
So you're looking for Batman, Lego Batman movie, Ninjago movie.
I've got almost everything in Lego Batman movie. If I'm going to be keeping an eye out for anything for that, it's going to be the Joker Mansion, and that's never going to happen ever.
Okay.
I was looking out for Apocalypseburg.
Yep.
There's a 5% chance of that happening. But for the most part, I was looking for. I'm chasing down Hidden Side stuff now because they're starting to phase those out, and I really love the designs. They're clever as hell, and I like the theme because it's like the newer Haunted Monster Hunters.
Yeah, so Hidden Side is a Lego series where it's based around an AR game, which is pretty cool. I guess I haven't done it myself, but anytime
it's pretty fucking clever. Yeah,
anytime a company's using new technology, I'm a fan of it, and. The builds themselves are really cool. Like the one I have is the Ghost Lab, which is just awesome. Like
this is part of my advanced strategy. I'm just going to disorganize all the gems here.
And the one you were looking for,
idiots,
is here's some more ASMR.
Oh God,
this is the paranormal intercept bus.
I just jumped.
And this is great because it's got, God, this is a killer design.
Oh, it's like a Mad Max style bus.
Yeah.
There's the reason, the thing that first got me to notice the Hidden Side stuff is that all of the builds are supposed to embody like alternate forms between this and like this, making air quotes with my fingers, ghost world, which would be the erstwhile Hidden Side.
This is so real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And there's a porta potty.
Oh, Jesus, it's a fucking porta potty, too.
Yeah, it's a monster porta potty.
Oh, my God, that's great.
And it desires turds.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And what they're really good about with these designs is that like, the Earth side materials have all of this implied degradation. it has this not eroded look to it, but a used look.
Yeah.
Like this, like the school bus is quite evidently, you can look at it and see that it has been repurposed into like some sort of a survival vehicle or whatever. So there's like bars on the windows and some sort of an accessory hatch coming out from the side, and that's before it transforms into something more nefarious when it meets the hidden side, through the app. And like so many of their builds from this theme are like this. I don't tend to get into like vehicle heavy themes because I think it's like that's a very cheap appeal to children.
Yeah, I like the buildings more personally.
Yeah, especially like the UEC one or the UCE ones.
Yeah.
But these were just too damn clever for me to ignore. And the fact that there is like a palpable narrative that surrounds the entire theme too was pretty crazy to me as well. There's a group of scientists that are trying to track down these ghosts, and there's some plucky yet streetwise children that have been roped into the chaos, so they help out instead of taking advantage of the situation for their own means. But yeah, it was a really cool set. And of course, it didn't sell for shit.
Because it's cool.
Because it was cool. It was, I think because maybe people like us think it was cool as hell and that the designs were clever as shit. Maybe kids were not into it as much. It is the kids that keep the toys flowing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and us adults like to matter, because of our narcissistic...
because we know we're aging out of life.
Yeah, but Lego don't care.
No.
So, let it thrive. Let it thrive with our loss.
Yeah.
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 I can at least chase this shit down in the middle of nowhere, Michigan.
Big Brick doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So you
Big
got
Brick
that.
doesn't
Did
care.
Did you get any? No, you didn't get any. Did you get the Billy and the Bongers?
I did get the Billy and the Boingers bootlegs because that was something that I had to sell during a rent desperation period. But only because this one came with the pressed vinyl.
Yeah.
That the other ones did come with.
Which I've never listened to, but I should
I
probably. Is it bad?
I did at some point. It's almost. It's almost legible. What's
Listenable?
listenable?
Sure.
Tons of scratching, tons of warping.
Okay.
I mean, it is like paper thin.
It
almost.
is.
And like even the most cohesive vinyls that you can put on the table still have a lot of fidelity issues.
Do you remember back in the 80s when McDonald's sent out an ad in the newspaper for their new menu, and they had an album with it, with the menu song on it?
Yeah.
I must have listened to that fucking song a million times.
Was it the menu
Big
song?
Mac McDeal, tea, a quarter pounder with some cheese fillet, a fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal.
That's your Wacko's World.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I remember all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions. And that was a Big Mac song.
Yeah, that was a Big Mac song.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
So the menu came on an album.
Or the metal version of it, which is... Oh, can I do metal?
It's... No, not at midnight.
All right. It's too late for metal.
It's too late for metal. We're too old.
Unfortunately. But it's never too late for coarse jokes.
Correct.
Yeah. Of which I have none because, honestly, me trying to dominate this table is kind of distracting me halfway. But...
Yeah, we've been recording for 30 minutes. We are 3 moves in.
We're... That's all on me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's on both of us.
Yeah. Because a lot of this is like... Zombie dice... See, I thought because of the simple rule set that this would be pretty easy to dive into and play passively while we're talking. But the thing about zombie dice is, like, chance carries half of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only randomness tendered by what's going on here is that we do flip a new card into a row that we can pour over obsessively for like 5 minutes while we're thinking about which gems to collate in order to scale upwards to the next row in order to, claim the title of Blood Diamond Lord at the end of this.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So, we don't have to, catch the plague.
It's my own personal fiefdom of gems.
You got a pretty handsome pile there anyway.
Yeah, I got 2 diamonds and a ruby.
Ruby! Oh, shit, this just made me think of something. What the hell was it? There was never any actual guarantee that the upper classes at this point in history were protected in any way from prolific spread of disease. Was there?
I don't think so, no.
I mean, certainly not STDs or anything, but I don't think they really cared.
No, they didn't care about that.
Yeah, especially Harry the Ninth.
Yeah.
Well, his brother.
Yeah.
His brother was the bad egg.
Harvey the Ninth is okay.
Harvey the Ninth is fine. Yeah, he's a positive example of a magnanimous lord, and he runs a very fair fiefdom.
Yeah.
But his brother, well, he was a wife killer, and he was absolutely riddled with the clap.
Fair Fiefdom is my medieval Foo Fighters cover band name.
Fucking. You son of a shit-eating turd farmer who eats what he sows and reaps. I don't know. God damn it.
So after Lowry's, we went across the street.
Apparently, I don't know how to insult.
That's okay. That's okay. And we went to CZ's, which is a place I discovered recently within the last year.
Yes.
And I had never taken YouTube before, but apparently it's been there forever. Just never noticed it.
Right.
And it was weird. So when I first noticed CZ's, we were coming back from that park that we drove past. And we turn onto Main Street, and I look up, and in the apartments above, because I guess the people who own that company live up above, and there was a Vault Boy painted in a window. I was like, oh, yeah, someone's a Fallout fan. That's pretty cool. And then it was like,
they're preparing for the apocalypse.
They like Zelda, and there's Mario, and is that a Vectrix in the window? What is? Oh, we got to stop here. Like,
somebody behind the wheel was like, nerds.
Yeah. So that was the first time I ever found it, but we went this time because I got a pretty awesome thing for my birthday. One of the things I did recently, I did a video with some friends of mine on YouTube about Holy Grails that we're hoping to acquire in 2021, and
finally drew.
And one of the 38 minutes in, 3.5 moves done.
Moving right along.
Yep. Footloose and fancy free. So your buttons. So we went across, and the reason we went is because I got in that video I pointed out that I really wanted to get one of the Jungle Green Nintendo 64s this year. It was a holy grail for me. I never had an N64. Well, I owned a gray one, but it never actually worked because I got it years after the system came out. You remember that? Like, mine never picked up a signal.
Seriously, I'm getting an echo of recollects.
We tried it on your TV in the apartment we shared. In the red and black room, and it never worked for me.
The red and black room,
where me, you, Meredith, and Victor lived.
Oh.
On the pipe shelves.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because you had your N64 hooked up and it worked.
Right.
But I could never get mine to work. It never functioned. So, it functioned once, and then I put it in storage, and then when I took it out of storage, it never worked again. So I was like, all right, well, that's that. So I've wanted another N64 for years, and I wanted the green one because I think it looks cool. That's the end of the story. Like, it looks neat. I want it.
I assumed for the longest time that the N64, that the reason you didn't have one was because the N64 library wasn't robust for you to invest time in chasing it down. Or robust enough.
That had something to do with it. Like, there are certain games for the N64 that I really loved.
But they were watershed games, and on a Nintendo system, they're usually first party.
Yeah. And that's pretty much exactly it. But it got to the point where it's like, well, I really want to get one. I hope I get one this year. This is the thing I want to get.
Yeah.
So I put it in the video, and my friend Chris, who was on the video, got a hold of my wife and said, "Hey, my game store out here in California has one." And
that's a hell of a call to get.
Yeah, she surprised me with it. I had no idea. Like, I was completely clueless about this entire situation because he had actually messaged me first and told me about it, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, I'd love to get it." And then messaged me back, and he said, "Oh, it's already sold out." I was like, "Oh, well."
What a sketchy bastard!
Wasn't meant to be. Not a big deal. But yeah, that's the end of it. I'll live. But yeah, so they duped me. Is basically what happened, and that's okay. I don't mind because I got it.
Yep.
So
and now the treasure is yours.
Yeah. So we went to CZ's today, and first thing we did is we walked in, and CZ's. If you don't have antique shops in your area, CZ's is set up like an antique shop.
Yeah.
It's an old store with a lot of useless crap in it. Mm-hmm. That is old. It's an antique store. That's all they are.
Right.
And the first thing we did is we went into the basement. And in the basement, we discovered...
Children.
Yeah, well, there was a child down there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they weren't chained up or anything. And this joke kind of fell flat. God damn it. Oh, well.
But so we went down to the basement.
I made at least one person sick. I did my job.
And we found down there a red and green crate.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. Now, in this crate were some old yearbooks, which I don't give a shit about yearbooks.
Mm-hmm. Got enough of our own.
Yeah, we got plenty of our own. And I don't look at those, so why am I going to look at someone else's?
I don't even really want mine.
I don't either. I don't understand why I keep them.
Yeah.
I just haul these heavy-ass fucking books all over the country.
I don't know. They're like a grimoire of cringe. Like,
yes.
Like bona fide cringe, not like social media currency cringe nowadays. It's just if you've ever been able to look at your yearbook without your skin without the feeling of like your epidermis wanting to leap right off of your bones at seeing anybody you knew, not even your own pictures, I dare say that I don't know, you've probably intimidated Clarice Starling at one point in your life. Yeah, you're just you're just not a well settled person. Yeah, and that sounds really judgy, but I don't like you. Just
I mean, there's a certain level of navel gazing where within like the first couple of years of leaving high school, you can look back at them and be like, oh,
this photograph,
the good times, man.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we did that? Yeah. But I'm fucking 42 in a week. I don't want to look at it anymore. It's just full of people I don't like.
I can't go that far.
Well, I
managed to stick with you assholes for this long.
The people I like are the people I keep in touch with.
Yeah, right.
The people I don't like, I don't want to see. Ever again. I'm good.
True, yeah.
Like, there's a reason I didn't go to my reunion. I don't give a shit about them.
I kind of want to go to my reunions now.
Oh, fuck, I do not want to go.
I do, because I never thought I'd be able to like work my way out of the shitty pit of misfortune that I had worked so diligently for over 10 years to get myself into, and all of a sudden I'm out. But then again, it's not really my way to lord over my successes, even though I make more money than everybody that used me in my class. I'm probably better looking and a lot of other stuff that they don't need to know about.
So anyway,
I don't believe that last one at all.
There were yearbooks in that crate.
Yeah.
And that was great because, yearbooks are wonderful, I guess. But more interestingly were all the games that were in that crate.
Yes.
Four Swords Adventures for the GameCube, Resident Evil 5 for the GameCube, Mario Kart Double Dash, bunch of fucking GameCube games.
Wait, was there a Double Dash in the crate, or was it just the one behind the glass counter?
No, there was one in the crate, but it didn't have a case. It was it was in a generic empty case. There was no box art or anything.
All right, I was about to say, I could go back there tomorrow, but no.
So yeah, that stuff was in there, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. But I don't really want any of this stuff.
Yeah,
I got to put it back because I can't spend $45 on Zelda 4 Swords when I'm the only one who's going to play it. It's
that's fucking sad.
Yeah,
because that I would be down for it like anytime you brought it out.
Yeah,
but I think the reason people don't really have an appreciation for 4 Swords is that because at the time it did come out, well, nobody played it then either. Yeah. So the closest thing we had to any sort of a counterpart to it in modern days was Triforce Heroes came out for the 3DS, and that is it's on the same foundations. Obviously, it's semi-competitive, semi-cooperative, but it is way more cooperative than the old 4 Swords was, because you could actually concentrate and kind of like play rope-a-dope with the rest of your crew while screwing them actively out of any triangles.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always like oftentimes that point where like all 4 of you team up to move a giant boulder, and then once the giant boulder is moved, you're like, all right, y'all going down now. Stabbing everybody. Your triangles are mine. But yeah, I mean, that was a bitchy setup too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I passed on that and went back upstairs and looked at the used games they had there, and I ended up finding, for me, I found 2 N64 games. I got Wave Race 64 and Blast Corps.
Yeah.
And then I got Fight Night Round 3 for the 360. Def Jam Vendetta for the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
And, what was the other one? I'm going to have to look at my pictures.
Not Fight for New York.
Because I'm not selling my child to get a game.
Yeah. It's nice to know that it's not unobtainium, though.
It was Knights Journey of Dreams for the Wii.
Yeah.
Which I'd played the original Knights on Saturn, and I'm interested in this one. I mean, it's a Wii game.
Yeah.
And it was like $3 complete in box, so whatever.
I actually did think about getting that one. One of the things that turned me off of Knights is that it seemed to be too married to rail play.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my gig. Rails only work for me when they're on shooters.
Sure.
But I love the music. Like,
Yeah.
the original had, like, the pimpinest, shitness music, and of course it was Sonic Team that made the game, so that all checks out. And when it was brought over to the Wii, same deal, new tunes, better visuals. And there's the other thing about the Saturn, is that, like,
Yeah.
well, I know it's like a cult console because it didn't do well, and there's a lot of that underdog appeal to it. Man, it was butt ugly.
Yeah. It did. It did 2D games beautifully.
Right.
But 3D, I mean, for first 3D, okay. But no.
I know, to me it was like marginally better than the PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just marginally.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Marginally and sadly.
So I picked up those, and did you end up getting anything? Oh yeah, you got a Paper Mario sticker.
I got a Paper Mario sticker.
So, which I love that the guy gave it to you for free.
Yeah, that was a hell of a gesture too. I was ready to flip out like at least $2 for it because I wanted to go right on my trunk.
Yeah.
I tend to, I don't know why this is, but like I'm a pretty strict gatekeeper when it comes to trunk stickers. I don't want no garbage on my furniture, no matter where it comes from. But Paper Mario, it belongs.
Yeah.
And I showed it to him, and he was like, "You recognize brilliance. You can have it for free." Well, thank you.
So in this exchange though, as I'm getting my games rung up, the lady that was downstairs with her kid ended up coming upstairs, and had 2 of these like light up links that were in that crate.
Yeah. Well, you didn't see those the first time?
No, I did.
Oh,
I just
okay.
I didn't care.
Right.
So she brings them up, and they're like, "Well, where were these?"
Did you go?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Son of a bitch.
They're like, "Well, where were these?" She's like, "Oh, they were downstairs."
You do tabletop like you eat lunch. Like, suddenly you're done.
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Meanwhile, I take forever.
And she's like, "Oh, they were downstairs." And the guy's like, "Where were they downstairs?" I said, "Oh, you had a crate downstairs." I said, "Yeah, you had a ton of games in there. You had a NES Mini and a bunch of GameCube games." And the guy's like, "What?"
Yes, you have saleable inventory downstairs. Did you not know about this?
Excuse me. And like the dude like interrupts our sale.
Yeah.
To run downstairs and grab these games to make sure people don't fucking steal them.
Right. Well, it's not that like they're going to be able to walk out of the store with any of that.
Yeah.
In their arms or anything.
Yeah, but they could have grabbed the discs.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that is true. Although, it could have been like, "You pregnant? Because you weren't when you came in here. Are you giving birth to cinder blocks?"
Yes.
No, I'm giving birth to a Rubbermaid. You caught me. All right, I gotta go now. Bye.
So we ended up, we picked that stuff up, and then we went to lunch. And Corey had...
for the first time ever, a local delicacy, which...
a regional meal.
It's not really called anything, is it? It's just a burger with green olives on it.
It's called an olive burger.
Right. I mean,
it's not a terribly creative name, I'll grant you, but...
It's not a terribly creative burger either, because, like, green olives isn't something that you would naturally put... I mean, I like green olives on a pizza and salad in those rare instances where I'm eating a fucking salad. But a lot of people don't even put green olives on pizza.
Sure.
So, I think this was somebody, like, after about, like, maybe 2.5 beers, and you got a pretty handsome functional buzz going, you know what, Michigan doesn't really have a regional dish, does it? You have pimento cheese, it's from the South. You have deep dish, that's from Chicago over with. Clam chowder's probably Massachusetts, I don't really know. But what's Michigan got? Cheese curds. No, it's fucking Wisconsin. Michigan doesn't have anything. Well...
Let's go with olives. Olives are native to Michigan.
Yeah, but what do we put the olives on? Well, it's... Oh, I'm eating a burger. hey, hand me those olives and put that on this burger.
But mix them up with a bunch of mayonnaise first.
So that they can adhere to the meat in the bun, because otherwise they're just going to fall off.
Yeah.
Like a miniature dandruff shower failure. I mean, it was good. It wasn't gross. Like, you kind of expect regional dishes to be kind of like a little bit challenging sounding.
Yeah.
But in the end, not completely repulsive. Peanuts and Coke is something that sounds repulsive to a lot of people, and I absolutely fucking love diving into one of those.
That's a real thing for those that don't.
I'll convince you one day. I mean, you can do milk and Coke, right? Because that's just... Really?
No.
It's just a melted float.
Nope. Can't do it.
Huh. Well, that's another thing I'm going to have to get you on to. But it is. It's pretty damn good. So I had this, and I was like, all right, well, I've done Peanuts and Coke and lived to tell the tale. I can do anything. And it wasn't repulsive, but it wasn't, like, shockingly tasty either.
Probably not going to go out of your way to have one again.
I mean, I might go back over to that restaurant because the rest of what they had on the menu looked fucking stellar.
Yeah, it's a damn good restaurant.
That was my first and only green olive hamburger. I'm not going to go behind it and jack anybody off for another one. Really.
Fair enough.
I'll do that for Peanuts and fucking Coke, though.
So from there we went to...
I mean, I'd wash my hands afterwards from the Savage.
Well, good. I appreciate that.
Not from the Navy. We just lost some Navy listeners. Or one guy that was like... Yeah, he was in the Navy.
Well, he's not wrong.
He's lying. He was totally in the Corps.
So after that, we went to Treasure Quest, which is one of my favorite little hidden gems here in Kalamazoo, which is a hole-in-the-wall video game store up in Kalamazoo that has...
Oh, you got my fucking gems. I just realized that. Oh, you little shit.
Oh, sorry.
Right. No. Well, no, you're not. We're playing.
That's true. that has all kinds of good stuff in the store.
There's no room for diplomacy and splendor.
Well, that's fair.
We're gem barons.
That's true.
We kill our slaves mining rubies.
That's
At least
true.
I'd assume that's how things worked in the Renaissance era.
We were so enlightened.
I mean, relatively speaking, perhaps.
Well, not Harvey the Ninth. He was not
right.
enlightened at all.
Well,
he was enheavened.
Yeah.
Because he's fat.
Because he's fat. He's blessed with cellulite. Cellulite, not celluloid. Yes, he's a big fan of the movies, which weren't a thing in Renaissance
I've got
Italy.
a future in the movies.
Oh, you know what they did love back in the day, though? Puppet shows.
They did love puppet shows. Mm-hmm. You know, that's... So, speaking of puppet shows... have you seen Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection?
Not yet, and I'm very surprised that you've been pushing this a whole lot. Because
I hate Ghosts and Goblins.
You loathe you some Ghosts and Goblins.
But I love Ghouls and Ghosts. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, let's be fair, Ghouls and Ghosts is great. Mm-hmm. Ghosts and Goblins is balls.
But arguably, for very specific reasons, Ghouls and Ghosts gives you a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Ghosts and Goblins
does not.
Ghosts and Goblins is straight up video game S&M.
Yeah. It's not... you are not meant to win that game.
It's a cynical quarter muncher.
Yeah.
Like, even coin-op defenders, like early coin-op defenders, can look at Ghosts and Goblins and be like, okay, somebody was scraping the brick when they made that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection is fantastic. And it's hard as hell. Mm-hmm. But on a positive note, it's hard as hell, but you don't have to put quarters in to play it.
Yeah, you don't make yourself poor.
Yeah.
You can get some baseball cards afterwards. No, Marvel superhero cards.
Yeah. But the neat thing about the game is that it looks like a puppet show. Like, all the character work in the game looks like it was taken, like it's got independent movement of the arms from the body and stuff like that.
In the remake that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Not the classic one.
Yeah.
Okay, because the classic one is great pixel art, but there was no real, like, theme behind it, except for, like, spooky things.
Correct.
Okay.
But yeah, this one looks like a puppet show. It's awesome.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, I'll show it to you tomorrow. And the guys behind Tomba helped on it.
Shit!
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wait.
Whoopee Camp.
Oh my god, they're still around.
They were. I thought they were done. I thought they had been shuttered. But yeah, no, they helped on it.
Hold on.
Their logo is in the credits.
There's something. No. Something that you just said is causing some kind of recollect to happen. There was a game that I played like a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5. No, this was like back when XBLA was doing big business. And it was exactly like that, but it was more of like an Edward Gorey thing. I mean, the visual theme was still like marionettes. Mm-hmm. And I think it was actually designed by Grasshopper Manufacture. Look up stuff that they've done if you
Grasshopper?
Have one. Yeah, Grasshopper or somebody. Where the hell did my phone go? Oh, there it is. Well, you're doing it anyway. All right. Now, if you have like a total list of all of the titles that they have put out in recent years, go back to around maybe 2010 or so. Ooh, that was not a good burp to make. I'm sore about that.
What's that? Fatal Frame?
Yeah, the Wii version of Fatal Frame that they actually worked on.
Did it get shuttered?
It never came over. It never came over here.
Diabolical Pitch.
Rebuild? No. Cinemore? No. Diabolical Pitch. Liberation Maiden. Lollipop Chainsaw. No More Heroes. Black Knight Sword. Look that up.
Okay.
You should find some images of that. I'm going to take my turn right now while we're doing kind of like an intersection here.
Go for it. Dark Souls? What?
Oh, that's very strange. Black Knight Sword. That's it. That's the one. All right, now check the trailer for that if you have it up.
God, I'm so happy I cut my fucking intro on my videos.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, it's good to have a sting in, I think, still, but... The wormwood resists in the wind. Oh, somebody talking over it.
Yes.
God damn it.
Oh, why are you being a bitch?
Then throw as many incongruent and bizarre things as possible to keep players off guard.
Oh, shut up.
I kind of thought it would just be a trailer, and somebody's doing a review.
You'll confront bizarre
There we
flying
go.
and falling heads, misshapen monstrosities, and more.
All right, not quite to that level.
Right, see, yeah, it's going for a very Edward Gorey-ish sort
Yes.
of presentation, but you get what I'm saying,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a very similar feel. And I love it. It's absolutely wonderful.
That's cool as hell.
Oh, God, shut up. Anyway.
I mean, I kind of have to appreciate a dry YouTube review.
Sure.
Because so many people are like, they flailingly reach towards comedy and being a personality. Mm-hmm. And they so obviously don't have one. And it ends up coming off not just awkward, but insincere.
Yeah.
And that's why I find most, video game YouTube channels kind of tough to digest. It's just like, dude, if you're a dry, boring-ass motherfucker, at least you've got Asperger's working for you, and you're a wealth of information. That's cool. Be that. Lean into it and inform me. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to be, a uncomfortable edgelord and, half leaning into a joke. That's just the most insincere shit.
Sure.
Yeah. There goes our YouTube audience, by the way. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Halfway.
So, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, we went to Treasure Quest.
Ghouls and Ghosts.
Oh, and, yeah, Ghouls and Ghosts. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how we got to that.
Puppet-like countenance, presentation, made me think of Black Knight Sword, and...
But I don't know what it got us to Ghouls and Ghosts in the first place. Guys, it is 12:30 in the morning, so... Yeah. We're old.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I kind of love the stream of consciousness feel to this.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
And if you think that like just being old at 12:30 in the morning was enough of pushing the boundaries, I just had half a cup of coffee, too, in order to make all this possible.
Oh. I hope you can sleep tonight.
Well, if I don't sleep tonight, then I guess I can sleep tomorrow morning. You guys have to work around me. And my farts.
Fair enough.
No, my farts are not fair. Nor are they forgiving.
Foul. Most foul. Anyway, so I went to Treasure Quest, and I picked up... Corey and I saw this game almost at the exact same time.
I was going to get it if you didn't.
Yeah, and it's Galactic Wrestling featuring Ultimate Muscle for the PS2, which I got for the unbelievably low price of $15. Mm-hmm. And we looked it up, and what was it? It's in that condition, it's like a $50 game.
In that condition, that's not CAB. There's no manual.
Yeah, no manual.
Right.
Dicks.
Lavina Dix?
It was disc and box. So
Yeah. Now the one that I looked up on Amazon was complete in box, still used at very good, and it was $120.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be scalper's price or nut mark, I don't know. But on the other hand, I checked it out on eBay afterwards. I don't know if you did a price chart on it, but eBay doesn't have it. So there was really nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, I checked on price charting, and I think it was like $48 without the manual, and I got it for 15.
Yeah, that's a clean get.
Which was a nice feeling.
That's a clean effing get. You can try to leverage the manual at some later point.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
As long as it's not like one of those bullshit manual sales sites that
Yeah.
give you reprinted stuff at like $50.
Yeah.
It's the real thing.
Yeah, no, you're a liar.
Nah. We flipped through many a manual. We know the stink.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got a Star Trek game for the PS2 as well that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but it was like $3. So
Star Trek Vulcan Penetration.
And then we went to Fanfare, which
hurts every time I go.
it's such a wonderful store, and I'm so glad that they were able to kind of survive. I don't want to say thrive, because I don't think any stores thrived over the last year.
Yeah.
Except Amazon. But I'm so happy that they survived the pandemic, and they're still open and still selling the nerd shit that we love.
It was one of those, like, it's not just a nerd store, it's like one of those gathering places. Like a pop cultural a pop cultural ice cream social.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
We're old.
And it's 12:30 at night.
Yeah, sorry.
And it was a case, we went, and it's one of the things that struck me about this area in particular the first time I visited back in 2009 was it is a weird little nerd mecca. Because when I first came up here, Fanfare is where it still is, but Second Chance was in a much smaller standalone building across the street.
I think I remember that.
And it was like this little wooden nothing building.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was like, this is phenomenal. And it was for the two of you that lived in Lee County that listened to the show, it was like going to Rainbow Records.
No, hey, what was the really small game place that was up near Centennial Park? It was like next to the bridge.
No idea.
Oh my god, it was beautiful, but it was cramped.
I don't even know that place.
It was like walking into somebody's really spacious walk-in closet, but they kept like the stuff that was to be sold at the garage sale in it. And then there was like a little cash register up at the front of the counter with the cash register. That was where I went and got my Illuminati cards.
No shit.
It was like the only place in the entire area that was selling them, and that's where I, first learned about the game. But yeah, I always like tried to make a pilgrimage as often as I could over there, and then I opened up my cards over underneath the bridge at Centennial, trying to figure out what part of the river the map on the ground was supposed to be.
I have no idea.
Oh, you didn't?
I've never been to that store.
Oh man. It was a cool place. I don't think it survived very long, though. Probably because Rainbow Records was what you just described it as.
So Rainbow Records. Man, I missed that store. That store was awesome. Okay, we're going to jump back 30 years real quick.
Yeah.
Rainbow Records, if you don't know...
There are people listening to us that are like, oh, fuck yes, they're going back into nostalgia. God, I love it when they do this.
So Rainbow Records was a store that, like, from the outside... It was billed as a vinyl store. Like all they had was vinyl. That was what they put on their store, on their sign. That's what they advertised on their windows. It was a vinyl store.
It's Rainbow Records.
Yeah, Rainbow Records.
Yeah.
But inside Rainbow Records were fucking video games and comics and action figures and just like.
But it was before this subculture became
a thing,
saleable.
Yeah,
yeah. It
was like this hidden, dingy, just magnificent fucking store that I would imagine I mean, I haven't been back to Lee County in Jesus since before my grandpa died.
That was one of the few things to draw a person back there, honestly.
Yeah. It was. But by the time I went back, it was, nerd shit was everywhere.
Yeah.
So Rainbow Records wasn't special anymore. It was like, it was just like, oh, you're still selling old X-Men figures. Okay.
I'd honestly be surprised if they were still selling merchandise other than vinyl at that point, because then they would have like steeper competition.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. But yeah, that was where you could go to find the old Toy Biz Marvel figures and awesome 1990s comics, like from 5 years previous that were just polybagged and boarded. And
Yeah.
that store was great.
That was the Lobo Clearinghouse.
That's where I got that glow in the dark Ghost Rider cover we were talking about earlier.
Oh shit! Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I remember what was the one that was over in Cape Coral that you
Comic Cave 2000.
Comic Cave 2000. Didn't I get like a fucking fat stack of Impulse comics over there?
Yes.
And then a bunch of JLIs.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was the comic shop I worked at. So I don't even remember how I got that job. I just got it. Like, it was just one of those things where it's like, hey, Jay, can you watch the register?
I'd assume it was because you could talk comics and not be repulsive.
Yeah.
Which is still a rare quality in a nerd.
And I think that's all, what it boiled down to was,
Right.
I think, I can't remember what the dude's name was, but I think he needed to run somewhere. He's like, hey, can you watch register for me? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, sure.
And then you got the job?
And then I just kept working there.
Yeah.
my interview was, hey, can you do this?
Well, you eventually got paid. It wasn't like you were Kramer just coming into work. And...
Yeah, no. I got paid. Like, he made sure he paid me.
Yeah. And then one day they were like, we don't pay you, really, so why do you keep coming in?
I don't know.
It gives me something to do.
But yeah, so that place was great. And then it just disappeared. Like, it just closed one day.
So... It certainly wasn't destined to become Comic Cave 3000.
No.
It's a pisser.
Do you... Okay, fuck. All right, the show's now gone off the rails here.
No, that's fine.
Do you remember...
That never happens on this podcast.
Yeah, right?
Ever.
We're always so on point. Do you remember the shop in Cape Coral that sold comics and was also a ceramic studio?
What the fucking fuck?
Yes.
You don't tug people, so I know you're not fucking with me.
Nope, I'm not.
Okay,
it was right down...
Was it Coralwood?
No, it was near Comic Cave, so it was down near Cape Coral Parkway.
I got to know that area pretty damn well during my Meanie Baby rampage.
Oh my god, I fucking forgot about the Meanie Babies. Holy shit. So this was down Cape Coral Parkway. Or not Cape Coral Parkway, but the one that was like parallel to it. That fucking that pool hall. That I can't remember the name of.
No, it wasn't Clicks.
Buckets? No, Buckets was across the river.
It's always like plural.
Gators? Nope.
Well, that's a possessive.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It wasn't like salaciously themed like Mugs and Jugs or anything, right?
No, it wasn't Mugs and Jugs.
The Hallowed Kingdom of Mugs and Jugs was.
It might have been Mugs and Jugs.
Really?
It might have been.
You do know that at one point it actually was a chain, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Mickle Bob's?
Fuck
barbecue
me.
place.
Yeah, I do.
Anyway, so
because that can't be a real name.
Yeah.
There's no trailer park that would have conjured up nonsense of that grade.
So anyway, down that road that ran parallel to Cape Coral Parkway, probably about a mile and a half past random wing place that had the pool hall in it, was this ceramic studio that also sold comics.
Okay. Well, no, was it like Afterstock Comics? Like
no,
maybe the owners.
No, it was new shit.
That's such a niche.
It was weird.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she was trying to coax nerds in off of the streets.
I have no idea.
Leading them away from a life poorly spent on material vices and flights of fancy.
And then there was the one in Fort Myers that was over the bridge near the college.
Mm-hmm.
That was in. Do you remember that A-frame shopping center?
No,
Okay.
that's not coming to me. It's not Bell Tower, right?
No.
Okay.
It was up near 41. It might have been
Bell Tower. You can get great discounts on clothes and some blow, possibly. Yeah.
I can't remember where it was. It was a little bit up past the college, off of College Parkway, and it was this weird little fucking. It wasn't I can't call it a mall, and I can't even call it a shopping center. It was like an office park, but it was an A-frame, and there was a comic and game store in there.
That's effing bizarre.
And it was awesome.
And I know that town's like, just bursting with effing bizarre.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything like that at all.
Yeah, it was a neat store.
Shit.
I can't remember the name of it, so it couldn't be. I guess it wasn't that neat, but
yeah. So it seems like comic book stores kind of follow the same like spatial inversion quality rule that the finer restaurants that you've been to does. Like the dingier and the more confined the accommodations are, the better the products.
Oh yeah.
Because Jimbo's would be a testament to that.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, because that was like nothing but you could have sworn like somebody who didn't understand like structural engineering could assume safely that the ceiling of Jimbo's was being held up by stacks of books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you couldn't.
Yeah, and probably 400 of those were my comics that I never picked up. So.
It was.
Sorry, Jim.
It was lapsed holdover boxes.
Yeah.
That were keeping that place afloat, and eventually brought it down. Probably.
But I mean, like Jimbo's was like that. Acme was like that.
Mm-hmm. Acme was pretty big.
Acme was big, but it was dingy, and I mean, you remember the old Acme.
That's right. Yeah, the Acme as it is now is not the way it used to be.
And then fucking Whiz Bang.
Whiz Bang was a fucking palace.
Yeah, but it was a palace, but it was stacked to the ceiling.
It was. I don't know. Whiz Bang's a bit different. Maybe it's because like there was a time at which before like comic books became mainstream that a lot of work was put into these places, but people couldn't keep up on, I guess, side tasks like vacuuming the floor all the time and shit. I don't know. But when I remember Whiz Bang, I remember it being just like this, the first nerd church I'd ever encountered.
Yeah.
Because our places were homey. You know? I mean, they were like you were describing, dingy, cramped. Very comfortable for us, lived in. Right. There's a lot of experiences to be tallied up within those walls. And Whiz Bang was like, it was the first place I'd gone to that had like fiberglass figures of Sentinels and Spider-Man and, Venom. And this was like back in like 97, 98, before, when you'd assume that stuff like that would be like, murder on the overhead. And the thing that I'm going to remember the most about that was that they had like all those premium like rings and watches and shit that were superhero and otherwise, property themed, just hanging out in a glass case like it was a fucking pawn shop. Yeah. But it was like the nicest pawn shop I've ever been to.
The thing I remember, because I only got to go to Whiz Bang once before they shuttered.
Yeah. It fucking sucks that they shuttered because out of all the places to fold, I thought it would at least outlast most of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
The thing I remember most about Whiz Bang, other than the fiberglass sets and like having like a random mannequin dressed up in a Green Hornet costume.
Yeah.
Was
that's how I knew it was home. They appreciated the Green Hornet.
Do you remember that they had behind the counter, they had like, it was like a clothesline or something. I can't remember what it was, but they would hang those one sheets of next week's comics. The covers.
Yeah, that's right.
And it blew my mind that was even a fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, they knew how to hype.
Yeah. They did great. Like they gave me the Robin issue where it's him and Spoiler at the movies.
Yeah.
They gave me that cover, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest store ever!"
One of the finest things that Chuck Dixon's honestly ever done.
Yeah.
And he wrote a lot of Guy Gardners. I do give him the benefit of the doubt on some shit.
Yeah.
That was just the place to go. And I keep forgetting that like comic book stores nowadays don't really carry that much like back issue stock anyway because it's a bitch to store.
Yep.
It used to be a fucking thing.
And then there was that one that was up in the Adventure into Comics that was right outside the townhouse.
No, wait, no. There was a comic book store that eventually became
Adventure, which became a comic shop.
But I think it was just comics.
Yeah.
And I went there twice, and both times I had the misfortune of running into the owner.
Yeah.
Who was a complete just bell end.
Yeah, that dude's a twat.
Yeah.
And he's still the owner of a comic shop, and he's still a fucking twat.
He wasn't that he was bought out.
No, at least not when I went.
Because he was like playing hardball with the whole idea of the Geek Easy in the back, which was in the back of a comic shop at the time. If there's people in Orlando that are listening, or people that are savvy with gods and monsters, I'm pretty sure they run in the same scene. Feel free to correct us on social media or whatever, because the great thing about drama is that we don't have to prove that any of it is real.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Or accurate. Yeah, of course. But I thought the Geek Easy was a sticking point with him, and then they used some of his like past behaviors in order to kind of muscle him out.
Oh well, that'd be great if they did.
Because the dude was a capital K cunt, above all grades.
But that was the dude that when Meredith and I went to the one before it was a comic shop, before it moved.
Yeah.
Meredith and I went, and he was just a fucking piece of shit to her.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you be in this store? You have, she was like, I never want to come back here.
Yeah. It was some crap.
Yeah. But I did get my first appearance of Hellboy there for like $2.
Dude, this will tell you how much of a sour taste that fucking place left in my mouth. The second time I went in there, that was when they started printing. That was when Darwin Cook took over Catwoman.
Yep.
It was like one of my favorite artists of all time. In like a milestone revisionist move, and I was absolutely all about getting that comic, but I did not want to buy it from that fucking place.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! At the same time, Army of Darkness was coming out too, so it would have been like, okay, I would love to be spending money on this place, but I don't want to. I want to make sure that none of it goes to you.
Yep.
Or any of the stuff that you eat, any of the power bills you might have to pay. I don't even want to. I don't even want to know that it winds up in the mouths of your children, because you don't deserve any of it. So that's unfortunately what kept me from reading Catwoman for like a decade.
You know what place I loved in Orlando? Mm-hmm. Was that place by the Highlight Court?
Dude, I thought that was Adventure in the Comics.
Maybe that was Adventure in the Comics, but that was the place that I got that Golden Age issue of The Flash.
Dude.
For like $6 because it was beat to shit.
There will never be another place like that.
That place was nuts.
Because the person that run that was just not into comics and comics as a culture. He was into storytelling and myth making. Period.
Yeah.
Do you remember the pulp collection?
Yep.
He had proper pulp. I'm not talking about like pulp flavored stuff, like comics about dudes in fedoras and Alan Quatermain toppling over a third world society in order to get their gold, shit like that. I'm talking about like actual like Crime Weekly, things like that, stuff that was like when you were reading these issues, you felt like you had to be extra careful or they were going to fall apart in your hands.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he had like premium rings from old boxes of like cornflakes, Ovaltine and stuff. It was like a treasure trove, that joint.
And it was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
He just wanted people to share in it.
Reasonably priced.
Well, yeah. He wasn't giving it away, let's be honest.
Yeah, there were some ratty ass pulps in there that were like upwards of up to about $32 in single issues and stuff. And if they weren't, I would have bought the entire place out. But that is like that place, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to get to it, because I will always think of that place as like the quintessential shrine to what makes, I don't know, to basically what makes our worlds, Of course, video games had nothing to do with it because he didn't care. But it was everything that fed into the culture as we know now. Mm-hmm. And, well, for better or worse, everything that the mainstream can now appreciate along with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for good or ill. Yeah, absolutely. Shit. That was a fun trip down memory lane.
I kept trying to think that, like, all right, we should kind of bring this home because it's easy to do nostalgia, but there are some places that, well, we went to some places today.
Yeah.
But there's got to be, like, some standout places that we know about nowadays. I'm pretty sure Gods and Monsters is, like, at the tip of everyone's tongue when they talk about stuff in Florida.
Gods and Monsters, absolutely.
Yeah.
Up here, like Fanfare. Fanfare is a store that, unlike Acme, down in Orlando, Fanfare has evolved as the industry has.
Yeah.
And the owner actually gives a flying fuck about the product.
He's also not a criminal.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He hasn't killed two people
right
by running into them drunkenly.
He's also not expertly skeevy around his clientele.
That's true.
That I think should count for something.
Yeah. He doesn't hire people that actively badmouth the industry they're trying to sell.
Mm-hmm. And that's also true. Well, he did hire a friend of ours. But that could have been one of his better decisions.
Yeah, true.
Right.
But he also hired people that actively hated the clientele that came in there.
Yeah, I know.
And would make fun of them.
The funny thing is that, like, recounting memories of these comic book stores, there's got to be at least a fair amount of people that are, like, hearing these, and everyone has the bad store.
Yep.
Because there is always one disgruntled dude that got into, like, the retail end of comics for some reason, even though it feels like or it sounds like they actively, like, loathe their own existences. Or, if not that, then the existence of the people that, come in to give him money. Mm-hmm. And it's like, where do these bad attitudes come from?
No idea.
I remember there was one dude, I'm not going to name this comic book store because people are going to know it immediately. And this dude could probably own it still down in Orlando. But
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it is in Orlando. And I kind of think that maybe, I mean, my first impression of this dude is that, like, he was a prick without equal.
Yep.
But what threw me about him was that when I first met him, he was young. Or at least he seemed young to me. Like, maybe at his oldest, he could have been, like, early 30s, you know? Good-looking dude. Clearly has his own business. So you'd assume that everything that this guy is doing is on the ball. And there's not a whole lot of hazard for him to be stressed out about. He's just a fucking prick to everybody that, like, he was not a prick to people that came in and seemed to have their shit together. But guess what? You run a comic book store, you're gonna get some human messes coming in every once in a while. And he would just, like, if he didn't talk to you, that was a good day for you. If he did talk to you, you felt like dirt and you never set foot in there again.
Yep.
And then he left the comic book chain, started up his own, like, it was the first time I ever saw something like this. I mean, and now this is a regular thing. So he was kind of like an innovator in that way. The first, like, collector vinyl sort of a nerd shop, like a Think Geek style shop that I'd ever been to. And in addition to that, it also doubled as like an art gallery, an art gallery for the culture. He would invite people to come in and do, you know, what Gods and Monsters does now with getting independent artists to sell their pieces out of his storefront. And he was a completely different person inside that place, even to me. I still dress the same. I don't know what happened. maybe the culture was just like weighing that heavily upon him for some reason, running a chain, but I don't know.
It could have been, or it could have just been that, you know, comics were the thing he wanted to do, and then he found what he loved.
Like he wanted to get into the creative side, couldn't make it, started a comic book store, hated it, and then kind of found a happy medium. Yeah. That's reasonable. I mean, the store folded in like a year, unfortunately, but it was really cool while it was still open. They had a bunch of Lupin DVDs.
The Village, right?
That was one in the Village, yeah. So there's some stores that we can think about right now. Gods and Monsters, top of the list.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
If only for the vault alone.
Yeah, Gods and Monsters is spectacular. I put Fanfare up there. There's a store up in Grand Rapids called Tardy's.
Yeah.
Which I love, which reminds me of old Acme.
Yeah.
But with people that, like, legitimately give a shit about the industry.
Right.
And we actually met them in line at the Letterkenny concert last year.
No shit.
They were in line next to us, and we just shot the shit for the 2 hours we were waiting for the concert to start. And they were fantastic.
By the way, are we on turn 5?
Yes, we are on turn 5.
This is going to be officially on pause for the rest of the show because I cannot think while we're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's not the same sort of dynamic as Zombie Dice. Consider it a failed experiment.
Yeah, but hey, it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Splendor, really good. Buy it.
Yeah. Go pick it up. That's our pimping for tonight.
Yeah. But there, I mean, and then over in Chicago, I mean, we've got
Graham Crackers.
Graham Crackers is just unbelievable. Oh yeah, Comics up in Skokie and in New York is great.
True. Chicago Comics.
Challengers.
I think Chicago. No. The big comic presence I believe in that town is Graham Crackers the one that actually has like other satellite locations? Because I just know about the one in Boys Town.
Has like 15 or 20 locations. Yeah.
So it is. Okay, yeah. I remember there was another one that was downtown, like close to the Loop, where I got that. I got that like long out of print expansion. Speaking of Lupin, for the Lupin, the Italian board game.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when I brought it up to the counter, and the dude was like, "Where the fuck did you find this?" It's up there right next to the door, and he's like, "Huh, God, that's the last time I don't pay attention to the inventory." It's like, hell, well, your sloth is my game.
Yes.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
He was really gracious about it. He was cool. I mean, you know that if you let something that big go, then it was completely your fault.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, I always think of, like, the Graham Crackers up in Boys Town as, like, my place and the local place because I always, like, go in there and make a beeline for the basement, like, right away.
Yeah, that's where me, you, Meredith, and Victor went, where Victor found, like, 4 Star Trek magazines in the basement and bought them for me.
Yeah, that Graham Crackers is where you go to cash the fuck in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess there are like more around the city too. So that's like the big presence in Chicago. In that case, I would say that you would be, if you're super in the comics, and especially a lot of like indie comics that are big into social messaging and stuff, or just humor. Because I know this place is also big into like Chris Ware comics, the Acme Novelty Library.
Yeah.
He actually, I think he knows the people that have that not own it. He has some sort of relationship with the store because they always have his stuff in a showcase.
Sure.
This is Chicago Comics, and this is off of Clark.
Chicago Comics is awesome.
Yeah.
That's where I got my Andre the Giant comic.
Oh, you fucking finally read it?
Yeah.
The one by Box Brown?
Yes, it's so good.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. It makes me so happy because now I don't have to buy it for you. I already bought it for Bob.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I bought it when I think again when me, you, Meredith, and Victor went.
Yeah. He also did a comic about the history of a graphic novel about the history of Tetris, and I have yet to pick that up.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He covers interesting subjects.
I'm gonna have to read that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's video game stores, and we've gotten off track. I mean, I picked up Rogue Squadron as well. That's the end of the shit we picked up. And there's used video game stores, and used video game stores are twofold because there's GameStops, which you can find a good GameStop, but
it has happened.
It has happened.
Yeah,
like the one near me here in Portage is awesome.
What was like your most obscene score to GameStop? I think we can grade those on a curve because it's GameStop. You know what I mean?
I think the most obscene score I ever had at a GameStop was probably the GameStop in Castleberry that was next to the Quiznos.
Castleberry? Oh, okay. I know.
Yeah. And I think I got Suikoden 4 and Suikoden 3 on PS2 for like $2 each.
God.
And this was when GameStop was not pricing stuff based on rarity. They were pricing stuff based on region and how many copies were in their region.
Yeah.
So apparently someone in the region had a ton of Suikoden 3 and 4s, and I won that day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That got me bad once though, because I had called for an inventory check on a place like some. I don't know, I was driving over to like someplace out west in Florida, close to the Tampa area, and there was a GameStop that was like out in the middle of nowhere, like somewhere close to Wesley Chapel or some shit. And I called them about like because I knew I was going over there, and I checked off like every GameStop that was on that route, and they had a copy of Fatal Frame 3. When that was when stock on that was starting to dwindle, you know. So I all right, can you hold it for me for about till the end of the day? I'm about to head out right now. And they're like, oh sure, it'll be here when you get here. And then I show up, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. I was fucking. You bought it, or you held it back, and you're putting it on eBay. That's what's happening. Because somebody would have looked into it. Yep. At that point, it's like this is a really niche game for somebody to call them about. What's the story? Ooh.
Yeah.
You pricks. Well, that was the most obscene crime done to me by GameStop because, well, once again, it's fucking GameStop. But that was before GameStop was central to very literal financial crimes and market manipulation, which is a great story in and of itself. Now, the most obscene score I ever made at a GameStop happened at the same place. It was two of them. And it was at the GameStop that was on University, close to where we were at, close to the college, plainly.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Up till the second score, I thought the first score that I got there, which was Sonic Pinball Party, was pretty great. And then I found a box complete in the box copy of Tactics Ogre about 3 to 4 years after it was initially released. Yeah. And that thing went scarce in if it was a year after its release, I would say even a couple of months before then.
Oh yeah,
because that was one of the ones I wrote off. I was like, I'm never going to be able to find this. I still haven't played it, but I saw it there, and it was just sitting in the little tiny little used like slab up in the front, next copies of freaking Super Mario Advance loose and whatnot in the box, just sitting there, yellow label on top of it. And it was like $32. To me, used, that was fine. I checked it out because I don't want to make sure there's any boogers on it or anything. And it was in pristine condition. So I bring it up to the counter after they, go up and get it for me. And the guy's like, spending $32 on a used game. And I was like, how does this motherfucker not know?
Yeah.
That's good. Because he could try to pull a Fatal Frame 3 right the fucking front of me as soon as I turn my head around, and then I won't be able to say anything. but that was a killer score.
That's a fantastic score.
Yeah. I just feel like an ass that I haven't touched it at all.
And with game stores, like I lament the loss, and this is the one I'm always going to reference because this place just blew my mind when you took me there, and that's People Play Games in Chicago.
Oh God, I'm gonna cry.
Which was like it's as close as I've felt to like a religious experience going into a game store.
Just that central aisle of PC big
box
boxes
PC.
from back in the day. Good God.
Walking in, like literally, you brought me in there.
Uh-huh.
And I walk in, and the first fucking thing I see in that section
Yeah.
is the Bard's Tale 2 Thief of Fate.
God damn it. Yeah.
Complete in box that you're able to pick up and look at, and I was fucking shaking.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I have not seen this since I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
And I fucking hate that I didn't buy it.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of thought it was going to... This was before COVID broke, that it actually went under.
Yeah.
This is because nobody went in there and bought stuff.
It was a museum.
I think it was because they were buying over what people were going in there to get. And that's really fucking tragic, because not only was something very exciting taken away from us, but it also speaks to the idea of actually having a video game museum or a tactile museum.
Yeah.
And how much... Well, not water, clearly, but how much attention that could draw, and how necessary that the idea of that could be.
Yep.
Because ever since it folded, whenever somebody tells us about one of the greatest video game stores we've ever wandered into, the first thing that pops into our head is always going to be People Play Games.
Yep.
We even remember the name of it without having to search.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucks.
And I went there once for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we got there right before it fucking closed.
Yeah, I know.
And it was it was that much of an impact on me. This place is just incredible.
Yeah.
And I have some people that I talked to from YouTube, and I brought up People Play Games, and one of the guys that used to live in Chicago, he's like, "Oh man, that's the greatest store ever." It's the best, most reverent fucking just video games matter store.
And shit, I forgot about even outside of that utterly mind-bending experience of seeing that the big box aisle, you could go in there for missing manuals. You can go there for missing boxes if you needed something that was attached to specific box art. You can go in there for imports, mostly unmolested.
Old magazines,
and old
strategy guides.
I know that most video game secondhand stores tend to treat strategy guides as anathema, and they were nope, we got them organized alphabetically. Suck it. I was God damn it!
And we only put out the ones that are in good shape.
Yes, that is helpful.
Yeah.
But then again, Half Price Books is really good about strategy guides too. But imagine having that in the same space as the game that the strategy guide references.
Yeah.
There was that. There was vintage peripherals by themselves if they did not have them with the games, and they were always put up in a display. It was just mind bending how
really
quality that place was, and how geez, like you said, reverence was the key word.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really I can add to that.
And you've got the Exchange now, which I've never been to, but I want to.
The Exchange is pretty goddamn good. I like it because I've made some pretty handsome scores there.
Sure.
Dark Watch, pristine. Dragon Quest 9 for under 20.
That's crazy.
I was about to see Dragon Quest 9 for under 100 because I'd still be impressed with it. But even at the price that I got it is so gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Exchange is pretty good, and I'm glad that exists. But it didn't necessarily do, and I don't think it seeks to do what People Play Games did.
Yeah, well, you have to have a certain mindset for that. It's just that's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And what was the place in Orlando? Cybertron.
Oh, Cybertron was pretty damn good. You're right about that. Yeah, that was the place. I'm sorry. There's Cybertron, which is great, by the way, because that was where I scored the first 4 Famicom Dragon Quests.
Yep.
In pretty good condition. They're not perfect, but I didn't really expect them to be.
Yep.
They're old, and they're phylacteries. There's also a place called Play and Trade, and I think that was a chain down there as well.
Play and Trade is a chain. There's still Play and Trades up here, actually.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty much up and down depending upon the management that was overseeing it. But the one that was near Waterford Lakes, that place is killer.
Yep.
Because they have like an NGPC wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were good. And here in Kalamazoo, we've got Second Chance. Second Chance is hit and miss. But I mean, it's been more missed this year just because COVID. People are going and buying games.
Right.
And then up in Battle Creek, we have Disc Traders, which is it's also hit and miss, but it's a lot more hit than it is miss. That's where I got Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard for $3 complete in box.
Have you played Star Fox Guard?
Star Fox Guard is a really good idea and a really bad presentation.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's tower defense.
Oh man, you think that would? Well, wait a minute. No, that's one of Nintendo's. That's a case of Nintendo fitting an IP onto something that doesn't quite belong there.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's sad.
Yeah, and I actually like Star Fox Zero. I know a lot of people don't, but I actually think it's pretty fun.
I haven't heard anything negative about it.
A lot of people don't like the way it controls because they have to use the motion controls with the pad, and I'm like,
well, you have to do that with Splatoon as well.
But it's good.
Yeah,
it works. So shut up. But yeah, there's.
Well, don't worry. I understand going to bat for reviled games.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Of course.
So yeah, we went out and spent a lot of money today. That's the moral of the story. I think we are going to wrap it up because it is now 1 o'clock in the morning, and we have been recording for 1 hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah, and nobody's winning this game of Splendor.
No, and I don't think there's any way to really edit this one down. This is going to be a long ass podcast, Bob.
Yeah. That's fine. He just wants the product, and we just want to ship that shit. As long as it gets out to Albuquerque, we still get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding. We do not get paid.
No, we don't.
Nah.
All right, so Bob has a note here. He wanted to say this. Love and support to our friends, the Morning Monorail podcast. We can't wait to hear them once they're back from hiatus. Mm-hmm. And yeah, good people over there. Even though Justin's a douche. I love you, Justin. It's Cretan's Guild Championship stuff. It's he's my right. Yeah,
it's scripted beef.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
All right,
guys, you can listen to the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, fuck.
Here
we go.
Yeah,
here we go. I'm coming, Wheezy. Oh God, what was her name?
I'm Elizabeth.
Coming, Elizabeth.
Yeah, this is another old show that nobody really understands the references to.
Yeah. So, the Cretan's Guild podcast can be found on Podbean, Spotify, Tout, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Why are we telling them this after they listen? Bob puts in parentheses. I don't know. Bob, you write the rundowns, man. I just say the words. I'm like Ron Burgundy with a fucking teleprompter.
Yeah.
You can follow the link tree in all of our social medias. Can be found in the... Bob, you gotta... I just read the words, man. You can't say that. Linktree to all our socials and other media can be found in the description. Oh, in the description.
Let me see what's happening.
Jesus Christ, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
What is that? Okay, what did you start reading?
So the Linktree to all of our socials and everything else can be found in the description of this podcast.
Yes.
Or you can just do a search for Cretan's Guild.
Now, you can read the third thing. I think that's relevant to you.
Yeah, this one I got.
Okay.
You can follow me on YouTube. I am Square Pegs. I am a video games show on YouTube, and you can follow Bob at Skipper Bob's Breakdowns, where he runs in Orlando and theme park lifestyle vlog. Follow him because Bob's videos are awesome.
And if it were up to us, he'd be taking that shit worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I want to see fucking Skipper Bob sailing across the country.
I want to see him tracking down all of the narrative points of interest within SEA lore. That would be a hell of a video series, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Just gallivanting.
Yeah.
Doing an Anthony Bourdain, just less cool, but nobody can be as cool as Anthony Bourdain. Anyway, so it's not a knock, Bob. You know that.
You can support us on Patreon, and we have merch available on tpublic.com that features the art of the brilliant Tom Sola. Mm-hmm. We are part of the PODFIX network somehow.
Yep.
And to all of our followers, new and old, we say welcome to the guild. To all your dogs and cats.
And we're gonna do that shit until he tells us to stop.
Yep. Because Bob ain't here. Bob ain't here.
This was a podcast of the PODFIX Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Austin Rude.
And I'm Phil Rude, and we host The Picture Show with Austin and Phil Rude.
Clever name. Each week, we watch a movie and bring our discussion to the mics.
You can hear my opinions and Austin's wrong opinions about everything we watch.
No, you're the wrong one.
Get out.
The Picture Show with Austin and Phil Rude. Download it wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you like 80s television? Of course you do. Do you like helicopters? Of course you do. Do you like men serenading eagles by the waterfront while playing cello? Yes. Yes, you do. If you'd like to hear more about helicopters and cellos, please be sure and tune in to Champa and Klein the AIRWOLF Years every week on your favorite podcast service. Join hosts Greg and Dave as they discuss every single episode of the classic 1980s television series AIRWOLF. Be sure and subscribe today.